I'm standing with ATU 757 presidential candidate Tom Horton. And Tom, you're going to tell us, our viewers, why we should vote for you.
Okay. Well, if you're ready for change, you're tired of this stale, stagnant, stinking status quo this union has stood for more than 17 years that I've been here, then you're ready to consider me as a candidate. I hope you check out my website, see everything there is to see, do some studying, look up the other candidates, inform your brothers and sisters that there's a choice to be made here. Vote for Horton, vote for change.
And what specific changes are you going to make if you're elected?
Okay, I'm going to have access for all, I'm going to have a union for everybody, and I'm going to have occupy and operate our own transit systems. The first one, access for everybody. Make our website available to everybody. Want all the information that can be had by the members to be available on that website. Want to make union meetings also available to everyone at any time of the day or night by way of web conferencing, a live stream during the meeting where it can be seen all over the local, far and wide. We want those meetings to be archived so that you can follow up with that after your long day at work and you don't want to have to add another function to your busy schedule. Be able to come home and follow up with the meeting. Want to be able to vote on the web. If there's issues that are to be considered at the meetings, then we leave those open for electronic voting for 24, 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever we see is appropriate for everybody to have an opportunity to participate. Let's make these meetings and the union business accessible for everyone. Let's also have a little bit of fun while we do it.
Yeah, that's been one of my issues is accessibility to what's going on. If you don't go to the meeting, you don't get to know. And one of my issues with the current administration is that they won't let anybody broadcast what went on in the meetings either. I've had my problems and so on. I mean, I'm really supportive of any effort to open that process up.
Well, I think that the unfortunate image that the labor movement in general has been saddled with by our opponents is that we're a bunch of overpaid goons and we engage in this bullying and thuggery and this exclusive behavior. This is an unfortunate image and we've got to turn this around.
Okay.
And one of the ways we do that is we encourage people to bring ideas to the table. We ought to anyway. We ought to encourage open communication amongst our members. And we've got to address this problem head on. And so one of the things I hope to do is to make the union website what I like to call the hub. It's just a thing, an invention of mine. It stands for Human Unity Builder. I want this to also have regular reports from the financial secretary, so that a union member can bring up this information and see for themselves where every penny of their dues is being spent.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
the second thing that I want to accomplish is a union for everyone. I am of the opinion that our leadership has been distracted in 26 different directions at the same time. And what happens is, as I am, again, in my opinion, and I think what we are experiencing is what used to be, what is called a gerrymander is applied to civil governments. Well, ours is a government too. But when you talk about adding all of our brothers and sisters with the contracts so far and wide from Tillamook to Walla Walla, from Vancouver all the way down to Eugene, Springfield, and to Medford, what's happened is that the existing leadership has manufactured this gerrymander. If you've ever seen the old cartoons about the salamander that looks like a dragon, well, this has allowed the incumbency to secure themselves for re-election by not only re-election, but in matters of importance, we're voting on things like forbearance of charges and updating the bylaws and whatnot. What used to be the largest member group, TriMet, is now likely to be outnumbered because the current leadership can afford to waste our votes. Now, we're always going to vote who we want or upon the issues. So there's going to be some that vote for the establishment, some that vote against the establishment, and some that don't vote at all. Same everywhere. But now the incumbency and the establishment candidates and leaders can afford to waste all of those votes at the largest property because they can count on all the other ones. And that is not proportional representation, not that I'm familiar with. So we've got to address this problem. One thing I suggest, it's only a suggestion. I never say that my ideas are the best ideas or my ideas are the only ideas. You never heard me say that. I'm only offering suggestions, and I expect other leaders to bring suggestions to the table. And I mean, by leaders, I mean not just elected leaders, but leaders that sit in the driver's seat, the leaders that repair these buses. People can bring these ideas to the table to fix this problem of equal representation. One idea that I've talked about is spinning these brothers and sisters off on their own ATU locals. Somehow or another, the establishment has convinced them that they can't live without us. That it's, union business is too complicated for them to handle all by themselves, and they must depend on leadership from Portland. Well, this isn't true. And we are going to be able to facilitate and encourage these brothers and sisters to find leadership of their own down in their own locations. And we're going to contact the International and facilitate, help in any way we can to help these brothers and sisters in the other contracts. I call them colonies, unfortunately, but you get the picture. Going to help them organize themselves into their own locals. Now, this doesn't mean that we're kicking anybody out. Doesn't mean that we're turning anybody loose. If they ever need help from us, you pick up the phone and give us a call. If they ever need bodies to come and help them demonstrate or do a picket or an informational strike or something like that, pick up the phone and we'll be right there. So nobody's getting turned loose. Everybody gets to be part of the union. And we're going to promote that not only for our own brothers and sisters, but for our friends and neighbors and our brothers and sisters in the community too. The third part of my campaign is about owning, operating, and occupying our own transit systems. That's occupy, own, and operate. Now, one of the problems that I see with the public transportation in this state, generally speaking, is that the large districts are managed and directed by appointed leadership. The same thing that happens here in Portland is the governor appoints TriMet's board of directors. Well, and this was appropriate in the beginning when we were going from the private blue lines to a public transit system where we needed to appoint people who had specific qualifications, who knew how to get the private to public transition off the ground, get it rolling. And if my understanding of the Oregon Revised Statute 267 is correct, there is a provision in that law that allows our public transit systems and their directing boards to switch from being appointed by the governor to being elected by the people. And I think that would be the ideal way of causing the leadership to be accountable to the people. We talk a lot these days about being transparent and accountable, and we have to make the leadership of the district and the union accountable to us, the people, and the members. So one way to do that is to occupy, own, and operate our own public transit systems and make these directing boards accountable to us by direct elections, and that way we can make the leadership accountable for the success or failure of the public transit systems.